this is a procedure for moving a gearbox on an RM inside the bus. You can take it out underneath, but we're going to take it out inside the bus. Remove the floor hatch, take the seat frame out, and then we're going to remove all the ancillary parts, undo the belts, prop shaft, oil pump, speedo, remove all the ancillary items, and then we're going to disconnect the two nuts it's sat on, and we're going to lift it inside the bus, because I think this is the easiest way of doing it for a preservationist, because you need to lift it up if you're taking it out underneath, or you need a pit, which means you've got to drop it in a pit, lift it out of a pit, lift the new one in a pit, and this one with a block and tackle you can lift it inside the bus, and the gearbox for a preserved bus on an RM is relatively light compared to a Bristol VR, Atlantean, Titan, etc. So we've removed the seat frame, now we're going to start undoing the ancillary items. We're going to have to slacken these belts off to take these off, but we're going to undo all the prop shaft bolts both sides, and strip it basically down to its bare bones. So all we'll actually be removing out of the hole will be the gearbox, because it's sat on the mountings off the chassis, which it's sat on top of. So if you dropped it through underneath, you'd have to undo the mountings actually off the gearbox, where if you drop it in through the floor you can sit it on the mountings, and it's just, I think it's safer. But as you can see, we've got a lot of ancillary items to remove first, and obviously the prop shafts. So I'm going to take all that off, and then we'll set up the blocks. We're going to use a piece of bar, block and tackle, ratchet straps front and back to have the gearbox centralised for gravity and for ease of movement. So we're going to have to jiggle the gearbox out. Obviously it is reasonably heavy, but if we've got two straps on it we can tilt it. We've just got to clear this side flange, and then it'll be able to come up into the bus, and then we're going to put the floor hatch back down when it's clear of the floor, and sit it on a trolley, weigh it out the bus, swap them over, bring the other one back in, and do the reverse procedure. So we'll now start doing the ancillaries. Right, just disconnected the speedo drive. It's held in with a pinch bolt, which we've just removed. We've cut the tire up to the wiring, so now we're just going to try and free it. So we'll get a
get the self-adjusting mechanism.
This is a dead blow hammer, by the way, just so we don't damage anything. Yeah, it's crap. Let's give it a tap.
That actually looks like a freaking...
It shouldn't be, it should just be...
Do you know what I mean? It's got that idea of looking like it's...
I think they've had a set of mole grips on it. If you look, its teeth and that, actually, I think they've put a set of grips on it. We'll put a set of grips on it. As you can see, it's all good fun trying to get bits off the bus. When it passes that pry bar, there's a pry bar. It should just slide out if it's greased up.
Oh, hang on, what the hell?
There you go, that's the drive gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not been lubed up at all, has it? Yeah, that's the drive. That goes in your box. In fact, to test that, if you put because you can test whether this is actually working or whether it's the right, there you go. Right, so that has not been
I've got copper grease away from when we put it back.
that's what I'm saying, look at that, it's been put in with, that's your speedo, that's your drive, and that's your Smith's sender unit, but it's been put in with no grease. Like really that needs to be greased, because if you ever need to take it out, and that's the joys of knocking them out. Right, that's a big monstrosity out of the way right there.
Right, so where do all these connect up?
Right, take that pipe clip off, and then we'll take that off next, the gear change control unit.
Yeah, it's going to be a spanner job.
Yeah.
No fucking way you're going to get a... It's going to be about 17.
Right, we're just using a 15mm spanner to get the speed sensor unit off. Obviously it's quite tight, it's on studs with nuts, and there ain't a lot of room. Can use a stubby spanner as well if you can, if you've got a stubby.
As it goes, I might have one.
15, yeah? Yeah, 15.
I've got a bloody bits. Put one on the stubs.
Yeah, it's just a case of undoing everything. There ain't a lot of room obviously in the area, so you've just got to use the ring or the open-ended end. There's 4 of these to get off. There's obviously 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Once you get it undone a bit, you can get in with the open, and it's just getting in to crack it off, because you don't know how tight these have been done. Sometimes you just got to keep turning the spanner on, which is a bit of a nuisance, but there you go. And just undo it with your fingers. Now, ideally, if you're doing this job, you need some plastic tubs. If you've got pots, ice cream tubs, whatever, to put the tubs in, and try and keep the tubs separate for different pieces. Like we put the seat frame bolts in a tub, and then all the bolts off the gearbox will put in a tub. Or if you want, you can use different tubs for different bits and mark them up. Voila! The hand appears with the tub. Obviously if you've got big hands, it's not good. Got small hands and small fingers, that's always a benefit. Right, as you can see, I've just got a stubby spanner. It's just shorter than a normal spanner, sort of by about half. And you can buy sets of these. And obviously that just gives you a little bit more room to get in, so you can see what you're doing. And there we go. We just dropped a nut on the floor. That's what you do. Right, undo the bottom one now. But again, with stubby spanner, with doing this job, obviously you can get underneath to undo the bottom bolt. But if you had a big spanner, you might not be able to get in, where with a shorter spanner you can get it into little nooks and crannies. So obviously these 2 bottom bolts are now going to undo by feel, rather than laying underneath the bus.
One.
Right, we've come to releasing the tension on the belt on the oil pump. 18mm spanner, there's 3 bolts which I've already undone. There's one here, there's one here and one here. Obviously fairly easy to undo. These have got plenty of oil on them, and then you need to slide this carrier this way, so use a pry bar. Obviously try and be careful with what you're prying on. Use the floor, there we go. It's moved nice and easily, and then you can take these belts off. Just jiggle them over. And that's your belts off, and then obviously we're going to take the belts off to release the pump. Just got to disconnect the 2 pipes, which I'm just going to do. And then you can undo the bolts and remove the pump and the carrier from the gearbox. That's the next step. The belts just come over the end like that. So that one off loose. Then jiggle this one over the edge of the lip. Like so. Jiggle it to the end. That's it, both the belts off. Just leave them in place around the end of the gearbox. Obviously you'll have to make sure the belts are in situ when you put it back, but we'll get to that later on in the video. So we're just going to undo these 2 pipes. One's got through the lead clip end, the other one's got a brass fitting in the pump and a brass fitting where it goes through the chassis. So I'll get those undone, and then I'll come back to you when we're going to remove the plate and show you me taking it off. Yeah, because we're going to have to get a bucket underneath or an ice cream tub just to catch an oil that comes out. So again, you've just got fitting here, Jubilee clips on both of these. We'll probably take both of these pipes off to just get them out of the way, because obviously we're going to get in the box inside the bus.
I don't know, I'll leave it with him.
Yeah, we'll sort it when it comes. Right, just remove the oil pump, remove the 2 pipes, took the 3 bolts off, remove the 2 oil pipes, that's the oil pump removed. That's it. I should stop the oil coming out. Yeah, cool. Right, onward. There we go. I'll take them out of the way. Have you stopped it? Right. Next. Right, that's the compressor, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
Right, Jubilee clip. This is the EP unit. I'm just unbolting the EP unit now for the gear change control unit. 4 bolts and a wire, just on, well, 4 nuts. It's on studs in the box, and we'll lift it out the way.